Hugs and Mac, you guys. It is day 4, or night 4, we should say, of Hanukkah, or Chanukah, as we should say. And I am really excited because today is also the solstice. And so that means that, so it's the winter solstice. So this is the shortest day of the year and the longest night of the year. And so that means that from now on, the days will start growing longer and the light is beginning to return to us. So I think it's really cool that, this is all happening, in correlation with the growing light that we're receiving through Hanukkah. And the way that we open up ourselves to that light and the possibility of miracles is by, overcoming our own darkness, our own shadow, embracing the shadow self, embracing the parts of us that we were, made to feel like we had to hide or reject or make small, in order to fit in or belong. And so it's about reclaiming those parts of ourselves and not, looking to other people for validation and just drawing upon that inner strength and fortitude and certainty. And so, yeah, that light, that's what we really have our identity in. And so for anyone else's approval, we don't need it anymore. We're not looking for that. And so it gives us the courage and the strength to be our own authentic selves and, be who we truly are and, shine our light out into the world and, be a beacon and an influence of sharing, rather than taking in the effort to just receive, for the sake of receiving for this self alone, or to anesthetize some discomfort or for instant gratification. But anyway, I actually pulled our cards this morning and I'm sitting here with I'm holding my phone and my elbows are propped up on my knees and I have on this wrap. And so I look like I'm like a tent right now. But I'm like tired and cozy, and I actually pre-recorded our discussion on the cards for today in an audio file this morning, just like even before I could write the message. It was just like all coming through faster than I could put it together. So I will suggest that you read our description box below, and I am just going to let the audio play. I think I don't have anything more to say, really. I think I said it all this morning and then in the writing, and I am just like a tired little girl. But I will say this. I will say that the shadow will be presenting itself over the middle of the week in this dark period over the solstice. And it's going to be about reintegrating that part of ourselves and showing that part of ourselves love and evolving it with the rest of the self so that we can unify all the parts of ourselves and connect with that higher super consciousness, that higher self that's available to us to connect with and to glimpse, this week. And so we are coming up on the Capricorn new moon, and we're also coming up on the new year. And so now is a really powerful time to set your intentions and really visualize and plan, and get in touch with your vision for the year ahead and for this huge new cycle that we're starting. And so the opponent, the equal opposing force that will always grow with us to every level, has been trying to distract us from, really connecting with that vision and, putting hoof to trail. And so it's about right now the shadow is taking its turn to throw the fit. And so it's about like saying like, no, you're coming along for the ride. Like, you don't have to be worried. We don't have to stay in the status quo. It's safe for you to grow. We're bringing you along, and you're not, rejected. You're not being abandoned. You are worthy and valuable of coming along with the whole of us, right? So we're bringing the shadow along, and we're not letting it pull us away from our focus and our new mindset and our new story and our new patterns. And so it's going to feel really tempting to go back into those old stories, those old sort of like regrets, or like, going around in circles wondering like, oh, where did it all go wrong? What could I have done differently? Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Like, don't get lost in the past. Don't be tempted to get lost in fantasies of everything going, disastrously. Don't get lost in fantasies on the drunken high of the potential of it all and never start taking action because you're just like, getting high on, dreaming about it, or getting lost in the daydreaming phase, or overwhelmed with options. Like, don't get trapped or ensnared in a negative form of enchantment. Instead, let that inspiration lead you to take clear and decisive actions, but keep moving forward. Let's see, was there anything else? Also, be wary or be realistic as you're finishing up this year to evaluate what is giving you equal reciprocity. Like, if you are putting in and then you are getting something in return. If something is giving you return value, great. If you're investing in something that is going to pay off and give you future value, great. But what I'm talking about here is if there are situations in your life, projects, people, institutions, whatnot, that you are investing your energy and your time and your emotion in, and they are not returning value to you and do not have the hope or promise of returning value, then those are the things that you need to reconsider and reprioritize and edit and possibly remove, okay? So we want the things in our life to really be in alignment with our higher selves, and the universe will send that which will support us. And we cannot be tempted to settle for less than we deserve because we are afraid to leave a void and we're just itching to fill a space. We have to practice trust that the right thing will come at the right time. All right, so if something doesn't work out, hold that certainty that it's still working out for you in the end. It's just that what you thought was the right answer maybe wasn't after all. All right, you guys. Well, I am going to enjoy Hanukkah night 4 and solstice and do some ritualing and journal about the year that's gone by and what I'm excited about for the year to come. And I will see y'all tomorrow, and just stay tuned because right now we are rolling into the extended message from earlier. So I'll see y'all later, and with no further ado, moi. Solstice today. I have just pulled the cards, and it's one of those times where I've got all of these fragmented thoughts like pouring out at once, and so I just wanted to start waxing rhapsodic. So shadow self, enchantment, and transition out of the Vintage Wisdom Oracle. Underneath 2 of Wands, 7 of Cups, and then 6 of Pentacles and 3 of Swords. So what I'm getting is that right now we are being really supported in digging into our subconscious patterns because we're going to be presented with aspects of our shadow self. This is the darkest time of year, and it's the darkest point right before the return of the light. And so the power that we can use right now, and we're in this thinning of the veil, right? When it's like these dark times, it's like we're really close to the spirit realm. And during Hanukkah, we have this light that we're drawing in, the surrounding light. And so we're seeing these miracles and this awe, and we're getting glimpses of this potential that we're moving toward and these seeds that we've planted. And by overcoming these shadow aspects, that's the Eucharist, that's the self-sacrifice that releases the power that can be then transformed and transmuted and directed into that divine miracle. It's called building a vessel, creating a vessel, sustaining a vessel. It's creating a desire to be connected with the fulfillment, the total fulfillment of the light. And, not just for the sake of receiving for the self alone, but for the sake of sharing. So you're willing to give yourself to something. You're willing to commit. You're willing to devote yourself and follow through. And part of that is through, sacrificing the ego, shedding those layers of negativity. And the ego is, embodied in the archetype of the shadow self, or in, an aspect of the ego is the shadow self. The shadow self is that part of us that has been denied, has been hidden, has been shamed or guilted. And so we think that part of us makes us unlovable or unworthy or misunderstood or an outcast or cursed or rejected or undesirable, unwanted, we don't belong, right? That's the shadow self. Or it's the shadow part of us. It's like, we're too much. No one will ever understand. I'm so alienated. It's like, I have to be different in order to please. That part is the shadow, right? The insecure part that acts out of competition, jealousy, feeling scarce, doubt, that prison waif within is the shadow self, right? So that part is going to be fighting us tooth and nail against sacrificing it, and it's afraid and it's fighting for its life. And so we need to assure that part of ourselves that it's on the healing journey to be reintegrated into our whole self, the higher self. It's not being denied. It's not being destroyed any longer. It's being included and lifted up. So the shadow self is going to be trying to trick you and distract you. You're going to be trying to get your vision together for the year. And it's going to be, trying to keep you distracted with sadness, with feeling like a victim, with loneliness. Loneliness is a big one this time of year. Or just feeling anxiety or stress, or kind of resentful for having to run around and do so much, or having to be with people that press your buttons. And so don't get distracted with all of that. Right now is a very powerful time to set your visions, to think about your next step. Things are coming together. But the temptation to be enchanted by all of this gloom, is very tempting. The illusion of, how it's all seeming, and the confusion of what happened, in the Seven of Cups, and also overly daydreaming about possibilities, but being overwhelmed and not being able to choose through analysis paralysis, or just being drunk on the fantasy of it all. The enchantment card in this situation is kind of a warning sign not to get too sucked in, to the inner drama. Don't get sucked into that shadow self. The shadow self is still looking at where things all went wrong, right? She's standing in the dark, looking up at the moon. She's still ruminating in the mystery and what happened? Looking for that closure, looking for that, something to validate or direct, her. And it's the enchanted is still looking back behind her, but I feel like she's getting bored with that state of being. She looks restless. And so when we look at the transition card here, it's this person is in the winter of their discontent, perhaps, and they're looking ahead, and the moon is behind them, and they have their back to the moon now, and they're ready to move forward. They're looking forward to spring. And so
we're ready to make this transition. It's just that we have to wake ourselves up from the enchantment, from the illusion, from the temptation of the shadow self, the illusions, the distractions, right? The moods, the mood swings, the overly fantasizing. We need to get our vision focused. We need to get a plan in order, and then we need to do that with the intention of following through, and we need to make a commitment, and then we need to take steps. Part of this transition is accepting the things that didn't work, or that were not valuable or profitable to you and no longer serve any purpose. Contracts that can be let go of, cords that need to be cut, and letting them go, and don't regret that. Just keep moving forward, because the Six of Pentacles is like, hey, there needs to be an equal give and take, right? And there needs to be reciprocal, equal value here. And I feel like in the Six of Pentacles, it shows like this person like dumping the coins into the hands of one, and it's like the other person is like off to the side, like, where is my portion? And it's like they're both sharing. It's coming to both of them. I don't know, but it just looks like, it just makes me think that there needs to be equal give and take. Or there might be someone who's withholding because they're mad that in their perception, the other person has it so easy, So we're moving past these power struggles, or these institutions, or whatever kind of relationships they are, whether that be business, interpersonal, what have you. We're really looking for more of an equal give and take, where both people are valued, where both people's needs are valued, where both person has equal place in the space, right? It's not all one-sided, right? And this might be difficult. The Three of Swords, it might cause, heartache. You might have to accept that you're moving on from some things that didn't work out, right? But we're ready to move on from that heartache, because being in it, you never get the swords out. You just sit there with swords sticking in, your heart and your back, walking around day and night like a porcupine. So you got to move on, and you've got to open yourself up for a brand new start, right? Casting call. All new episodes, you guys. So yeah, this is kind of a little bit of a shadowy reading, but it makes sense because we're in the solstice, and this is the darkest time of the year. And that's why there's a Yule log lit for the night. It keeps burning because we're protected by the light, and we're looking for the return of the light and the hope of that light. And it's so funny because the light is the center focus of Hanukkah. It's drawing on that light of source, the fulfillment of the whole. And it's that growing, with each night, with additional candles, it's like we're growing and growing and growing in the light that we're receiving and sharing, and the faith and certainty that we have, that we can overcome challenge and resistance, and we can persist and triumph. And, at the end of the week, we have the coming of the light through the Christ being introduced into this physical realm through the embodiment of Jesus the Christ, Jesus of Nazareth. He brought that message to the world. He raised the consciousness of the planet forever. And he took part in the most powerful sacrifice that had ever happened, that opened a portal and a gate that allowed all of the souls of mankind to transcend to a higher level, right? And opened the possibility of us to be liberated within this flesh suit, within this material world, by knowing the truth that we extend beyond it forever and ever in eternity. So the light will be back. This is the darkest before the dawn. And really, it got here before we knew it. Like, I feel like now the days are going to start getting lighter. And it didn't take that long. Feels like it usually feels like forever. But we're already halfway. All right, y'all. I don't know if I'm going to publish this. I guess I will. Now I have to write a post as well. And we'll talk about it in a video later. But yeah, that helped me get my thoughts organized. Peace.